Talofa Lava, thank you for joining me today. First, we ask our Heavenly Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit to bless this show with divine wisdom. This is a talk show where we celebrate and we debate, question, interview topics that are happening around the whole of the Moana Pacific. I have once again the special guest, Honourable Tulepa, former Prime Minister of 22 years and currently the opposition leader of Samoa. It's a pleasure to have you on again, Dr. Tulepa. Welcome.
Well, greetings to everyone who is listening to our program tonight.
Thank you, Honourable Tulepa. Happy Independence Day, happy Independence Week for Samoa. I just wanted to ask a recap of the festivities over the last few days. Honourable, how's your day been?
Well, I think the program as laid down by the Committee for Independence was a very full program. And a lot of our people that came from the villages, a lot had to spend so many days celebrating. And I also enjoy watching some of the performances. I was extremely happy with the outcome of the boat race. Then again, there was the marriage 7 that was in motion yesterday. And what was most pleasing was that our women team beat the Fiji women team, which is a very strong team from Fiji. They are always good sportsmen, very fit and very fast in a running game. The final was also played between a team from Fiji and a team from way out in my area. And again, our sevens team won. And that the price of 20,000 was quite a lot of money. It was well run. The referee the games extremely well.
That's good, Honourable. We've been watching online over here, and it looks really good. Samoa looks alive. The festivities that the FAST have done. One thing I have to note, the government know how to party. They know how to put on a show. The road show. But when you come, you can't deny the fact. These guys are very good at partying. I've seen some footage of the Prime Minister Laoli, taking us back to his singing days. And so there's a lot of joy, It's good to see the joy. There's one thing seeing the joy, but there's the reality of responsibility and accountability. And unfortunately,
you see, that's what our people want. Celebrate. And if it means no work, then there should be no work to interfere with celebration. And that's what we want. Generally what the people want. But of course, a government has to lay down the programs to ensure that there is enough money to pay for all these entertainments. And that is where the problem lies. I think there's going to be a lot of people remaining unhappy as they wait for their prices. Because we heard that some of the sports people did not get what they were promised to get.
Wow.
In financial terms. So we just what? What's going to happen? As it is now, the Observer printed this morning that the banks, all the banks, trading banks, decline the request from government for OT facilities, for the replenishment of finance needed for the Ponofavai program. And all the 4 trading banks have rejected OT for the Ponofavai, which means the government. And when that happens, really, it means the government is insolvent. Some people call it the government is bankrupt. So we are going to watch very carefully over the next few months, especially now that we are also being warned by the Electric Power Corporation that there shall be unavoidable rationing of fuel, and hence some people will go without electricity over the next few whatever time period.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of partying in Samoa, and there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of in Samoa. Honorable.
Remember also when Fiamare was in the helm, celebrating the Fiamare's first independence celebration, the whole country celebrated for a whole year. For a whole year of dancing and tripping overseas. Trips to overseas in New Zealand, overseas communities in New Zealand and Australia and America, looking for funds for themselves. So you mentioned that the FAST party is very good at partying. They've been practicing it since Fiamare's time, partying and doing no work.
Well, there seems to be 2 types of people, you know, the partying type, but then there's other people that are more of the responsible type. Even to our kids these days, I was laughing a little bit over, there was a video going around where they asked the kids, who is the Prime Minister of Samoa? And the kid said, Laoli, but the MC had said, what is the full name of the Prime Minister of Samoa? And he said, it is Tuleepa Laoli. So it seems like the kids are a little bit mixed up on who is the Prime Minister of Samoa. But yeah, these are concerns that we need to bring to the people. Honourable, you mentioned the Amber Alerts. You know, so Amber Alert is usually brought out when there's less than 30 days of fuel, you know, when the story broke. And then we have so that was broken by that story had come out from the Disaster Advisory Committee. And obviously, days later, the PPS, which is the group that is responsible for dealing with the fuel, have come and said that it's 50 days of fuel. There's no issue at all. Now, it seems like there's an internal battle within the ministries or these groups behind the scenes. Honourable, can you give us light on do you think is telling the truth here? Is it right for the disaster advisory group, our committee, to kind of come out and give warning to the people because there's a problem here with the fuel? Or what's the issue here that we need to look at here?
Well, the government under Laoli has made so many promises which were not fulfilled. So the question you put, who is to be believed? The answer is clear. We have to believe those business people that are administering the fuel distribution. PPS is a private company, and it is they have been contracted to be responsible for the distribution. And that means delivering the fuel and get paid for it. I am under the impression that PPS is owed millions and millions from the government of unpaid fuel deliveries.
So, because would it be fair, Honourable, because there's been a lot of talk about the congestion in Samoa. A lot of people have a lot of cars in the city area of Samoa, and the prices of petrol going up. Is the so-called plan for Samoa to try and help the fuel crisis to not, not convince the people to buy the fuel? Like it contradicts what the goal of the government. You're supposed to help the people, not try and move them away from buying petrol by lifting up the price. This is the confusing thing for a lot of people in Samoa and to us looking in. Would you say that's a fair call? There's too much cars, there's too much, there's no proper plan from the government when it comes to the fuel. And this is the issue that's stemming this whole Amber Alert.
Well, that's what the whole thing is about. That the fuel problems facing the world, the government ought to put in place a plan, a fallback position for the government when the shortage is felt and formally taking place as is happening in other Pacific Island countries, and are similarly putting in place their own plans to meet the crisis, the impending crisis. The tank capacity that we have now can only last our cars, our people's demands for between 2 to 3 months. That's all. So the government has to put down a plan for the proper rationing of the fuel. I was asked if there is no plan and the crisis hits Samoa, what must the government do? That was the question posed to me in an interview only 1 hour ago from another media personnel. And my response was, well, this is the time when the government ought to activate its wheelbarrow policy. When it distributed a lot of wheelbarrows to the villages. So this is the time to activate it. Each family must now jump onto their wheelbarrows and get some people to push it.
I know with it seems to be going down to that pathway. There's no hiding it. You know, for this committee to come out and say that, there's obviously things that need to be looked at behind the scenes, and there's always another group coming in to say, "Nah, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing to see here." But there is something to be seen here, and this is what the government do really well, covering up what's behind the curtain. And we're trying so hard to get to understand what's behind the curtain, but you know.
Well, you see, you can make so many promises, but in the end, you run out of promises, and people are going to come and get you. That's what the government has been doing. Promise that, and when they are caught, then they turn around and blame me and the HRPP. Yeah.
That's right. And so, you know, even now you can see this. It's starting to affect businesses now, and buses obviously getting affected because the prices of fuel going up. Buses are charging and increasing fares without the authorities' permission. You know, these are the type of things where people are starting to take into their own hands. They say, hey, well, I know the governments are not listening, so I have to lift up the fares, even though the authority has said this is this is where it's heading to. People are having to do this so they can survive in Samoa, and it's not a good look for us, for Samoan economy and looking in. And boy, I got to move to the next subject. There's another story here I wanted to put it to you. It's the church forgives missing $960,000. This is a large amount of money, Honourable. It is, I think it is dated back in 2019, this story, but I just wanted to get your opinion on this type of forgiveness. And you know, we are Christians, we are here to forgive, but your opinion on, is this the type of forgiving that we're going to be doing? If just say something happens with the government as it's starting to kind of, what we can see crumbling behind the scenes, are we looking to do the same forgiveness here? That they're missing these people in the Church of the FRKSA, Honourable?
There's a lot of complaints now. Lots and lots of complaints from the churchgoers. They are now asking questions. Why the pastors are so quick in forgiving this huge debt. Understandably, the person responsible is also a pastor. And the thinking is, the reason for the quick conclusion from the elders of the church is because a lot of the elders themselves are also involved, possibly in behind the scene credit from the treasurer who was responsible for the missing funds. So the parishioners of the church are asking questions, reminding the elders that it is the parishioners that contribute this money for the development of the church. And it's still ongoing. We do not know what will happen, but apparently several young pastors are recommending to take the matter to the court, let the court decide, and mete out appropriate punishment to the treasurer involved.
It's a large amount of money, Honourable. I just, it was the front line of the Samoa Observer, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of money. And we're having a lot of money issues in Samoa. There's a lot of problems, but there is a lot of money being put into this Independence Day, Honourable. $5 million. And 1 million of that 5 million was from the emergency funds, which is a surprise. But Honourable, is this $5 million, or maybe in your time? Did you spend this amount of money in your times when you were Prime Minister of Samoa, preparing for Independence Day?
Well, our budget at the time was only 250,000 average. Sometimes it may reach to 300,000, but we never went beyond what is required. For one thing, we only have 1 or 2 days of celebrations, and we get all the entertainers perform. So even in one day, the program is full and everyone is allowed to enjoy beyond the feast or the official lunch in which everybody is invited.
I didn't know that.
Not this kind of extravagant spending. You see, when you watch very closely, the question arises, who benefits? And you will find amongst the program is the major opening ceremony, where only about seven people benefited. The Prime Minister, the head of state, 3 members of the Council of Ministers, and also the Speaker. And then all these fine mats and all these monies went to their pocket through formal presentation of gifts. And what was most clear was the ignoring of members of parliament, particularly our members. And the resulting discrimination is enormous, to the point that members of parliament are completely ignored. Not only the members of our party, but also members of their party. So that's why I was happy. Because what we had said all along, a lot of people are decrying our recommendation as being pure, what you call pure storytelling to damage the good name of the government. Now they see for themselves that we have been correct all the time. These were the many ways of using money, public money, without authority. There's absolutely no control. All the control, financial control systems by the government are ignored. When you decide as a government to hand these millions out to the village, front of our eyes, and being handled by officials that had never distributed $500. And to handle millions of dollars, with them carrying them around in bags. This is outrageous.
Honorable, it's very outrageous. And I know I saw a video going around Facebook, and I think it was the old man from the district of Laoli that you mentioned before in the last week's show. And it was almost like, he was the only one speaking up the truth, saying remarks to saying, what is all this, and kind of remarking on the fact that, almost like calling out what is wrong, like why isn't HRPP here? Why is so much stuff put into these type of events? And I thought, this is the spirit of the Mau. When these guys, they talk about the Mau, they talk about the spirit of standing up for Samoa. And you mentioned there, Honourable, the systems, it seems to me the systems that are moving away from the traditional, it's not traditional, it's conservative systems that you learned in politics. And it's slowly being transitioned into...
No. The system used by the company is outright theft. Outright theft of public funds. Because there is absolutely no control. There's absolutely no control.
Would you say, Honourable, it's disguised in cultural settings, Honourable? Would you say it's because, people might say, how I can see what's happening with Laoli. It's all traditional, and from people seeing from outside. It's a traditional manner. This is how they did it in Samoan days. This is a cultural thing.
This is okay if it is your own money. That's all right.
Yeah.
When you gift money and it is your own money. But when you use public funds, which spending is controlled by the laws of this country and are being overlooked, that is not right. Through the extended system and the gifting is the tradition. But in times of campaigning, the law stipulates that all traditional events that will call for gifts are suspended. Because these things are absolute misuse of finance to bring about bribery in broad daylight.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what we call loophole.
So the law during our time was very strict and strictly applied. And there were people who were kicked out for giving even $10 fare to a relative. That was how strict our laws were. But when the court decided to treat these things as part and parcels of our tradition, this is where the problem arose. And as you know, the first government was not voted in by the public. It was selected by the court. It's a court case that we need to look at again and stipulate laws to ensure that what we did must be followed during our time, must be followed strictly to prevent the bribery, activities which the fast was famous for.
You're so right, Honourable. And as the opposition leader, this is what I wanted to know. As opposition leader, because we talk about this situation here. To me, I see this. It's like a loophole. It's a way to kind of make more money. As you said, in literally in front of everyone. Just pull it under the cultural gifting in your suite. Just as an opposition leader, would you?
It is a dirty way of making more money simply by taking public money without authority.
It's such an unfair game, this loophole it's unfair because it has changed the whole game of politics. This loophole, I would say. But Honourable, as the opposition leader, because there's a lot of talk about people using these funds because the government have given out $1 million now, $2 million to the people. But these gifts that have come to these activities, to these events, where the governments are involved, it comes from the funds of the Whānau Whānau. And these are the types of things that, as an opposition leader, Honourable, do you think making it law and making rules to make it sure that you are not allowed to do that, is that something that needs to be looked at that will give you confidence to say, we're not going to support this cultural gifting loophole so people can make extra money?
That was the situation during our time. So all that we need to do is to revert to what we were before. But most importantly, the donors, namely New Zealand and Australia, should never, never, never make any grants, knowing fully well that their grants will perpetuate the gifting and the misuse of their taxpayers' money under the pretext that it is being used for social needs out in the villages.
Well,
and that's why I am hopeful. Now the Australian and the New Zealand High Commissioners here fully understand what's going on because they are reading the English version of the newspaper Observer, for them to know the depth of the dirty politics that is being played here.
That's so right, Honourable. And I think that's the major thing we just hit on there. A lot of Samoans from outside, they're looking in and they can't see the loophole. And can you imagine in Australia and New Zealand having a loophole of cultural gifts? Millions and millions going here from this corporation, from that corporation. It will just be outrageous. The people will kind of protest against that.
The very first Samoan who became a member of Parliament of New Zealand, the first Pacific Islander, was dismissed from Parliament for the very same crime, using money that was seen as gifts under ordinary Samoan tradition and Maori tradition. But under New Zealand laws, it was alleged to be a bribery. So New Zealand people had already taste of what we are talking about, and also the frustration and the suffering that we are going through in Samoa. People who have suffered because of the open use of public money to buy votes and support.
This is definitely the, you know, Honorable, this is definitely the spot here, right here, this subject here. It really comes up and opens up from this cultural gifting part. You know, if you take that out, Honorable, I think this will be a fair game in politics. But it's completely
That's right.
bribery. It's bribery. It's like going to a game of rugby and you pay the ref. It's a done deal. And I'm happy that we kind of can see what you're talking about, Honourable. I want to cross over to another story here. Changing the lens of politics. Lupe Samoa hunting threatens manu mea. Now, I wanted to know, Honourable, do you like to eat lupe? Pigeon, is there something that you personally like? And because it seems as a story comes out to say that the manu mea, which is a dear bird to Samoa, they're trying to protect it, but there seems that a lot of people going to make money to shooting lupe, but then they could shoot the manu mea. This is the concern in the story. Honourable, any experience in the lupe?
Forest wild pigeons. Wild pigeons are always popular as popular meat for our people, especially during the times when the fruit trees bear the fruits that are eaten by the pigeon. So it's a very popular food item by our people. Pigeons.
The manu mea, Honourable,
And the manu mea that you referred to, I saw the picture of the manu mea. And I myself have been a pigeon hunter in my young age, in my village. And I know the difference between the ordinary pigeon and a manuma. We call it manuma.
Manuma, okay.
Somehow somebody call it manumea, but it's a manuma, it's brown. And there are a lot of manuma in our area, out in the forest. And that is why we try very hard to preserve our forest to ensure that a lot of these birds have the sanctuary for them to be preserved. I have been to Niue, and the forest of Niue is full with pigeon. And there is an explanation. Niue is called a big rock.
Yeah.
Apparently, Niue was made from some kind of activity in which the whole reef was pushed up uh, probably a big volcano underneath that push up this whole reef, and the most of the island is raised coral. Uh, Now with corals, if you walk on the reef, you have to be very careful. You should wear shoes because there are a lot of sharp corals which can cut your feet. So when this big land of coral rose up, and then, of course, trees began to grow, most of the land in the hinterland is just pure coral. And you just cannot wander off in the forest and walk over these corals, sharp corals. And therefore, much of the forest remain untouched. And which is why inside the pigeons are having, are having a great paradise, because no one will come into the forest and shoot them or kill them. So the number of pigeons is enormous in Niue. And when I attended a meeting of the Economic Council, when I was the Minister of Finance, there was a big feast held by the government of Niue to welcome all of us. And they were all pigeons. Wrapped up.
Yeah. Honorable, yeah, thank you for that insight. I saw that story, and I thought I'll pitch it to you because you say you were hunting when you were young, Honorable. You had I had seen in the story a long time ago. You even medaled in the Commonwealth Games or as an archer. You're experiencing that. Is this coming back from your hunting days back when you were young?
Well, I was a member of our shooting team, and so we went out practicing shooting. Shooting the disc. They shoot the disc along across, and you shoot it with a 12 gauge. And then on alternate days, I would go and practice shooting arrows. So I was doing two things. When I was Prime Minister, shooting arrows, and also shooting the 12 gauge to determine which game I would enter to compete for Samoa. I found out that I had better chances of getting a medal if I went for the archery. And so that was why I got a silver medal in archery. But the main reason why I also enjoy shooting flying discs was because I had a small cattle farm. and I wanted to use a rifle to shoot the big bulls when I wanted to get a bull for whatever event that I require the bull for. So I wanted to ensure that I was a marksman, that with one shot, even for whatever distance,